pressure is boiling over in the Bronx, and the noise around Aaron Boone has reached a fever pitch. What started as frustration after a few tough losses has now exploded into full-blown panic. This is no longer about one game, one bullpen miscue, or one cold streak at the plate. It's about a Yankees team that's unraveling in real time, and a fan base that's watching a season of high expectations crumble by the day. Monday night in Texas was a turning point. The Yankees opened strong, jumping out to a 3-run lead and seemingly setting the tone early. But what followed was the kind of collapse that sends shockwaves through a clubhouse. They fell 8-5 in 10 innings, marking their 4th consecutive loss and dropping their record to 60 wins and 53 losses. They now sit 3rd in the American League East, barely clinging to a spot above the Tampa Bay Rays, and that gap is shrinking fast. What makes this loss sting even more is how perfectly it captured everything that's gone wrong. Missed opportunities, late-inning implosions, mental lapses, and a complete lack of consistency. The Yankees loaded the bases in the first 2 innings and came away with nothing. Sure, Giancarlo Stanton blasted a 415-foot rocket for his 10th homer in 24 games, but after that, the offense vanished. Max Fried got the start and did what he could, but his line told the story. 5 innings, 8 hits for earned runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't enough. Not when the pitching staff is already on life support. Then came the bullpen carousel. For a moment, it looked like things would hold. Luke Weaver, Camilo Doval, and David Bednar managed to piece together a narrow lead going into the 9th. But Devin Williams, brought in to close the door, left it wide open with a game-tying homer to Jock Peterson. In an extras, Jake Bird got 2 quick outs, walked a batter intentionally, and then served up a devastating walk-off 3-run bomb to Josh Young. Even then, the Yankees had a chance to bounce back. They put runners on the corners with 1 out in the top of the 10th. But Austin Wells grounded into a rally-killing double play, and just like that, another gut punch went into the loss column. But this game wasn't just another L. It was a full-blown microcosm of the Yankees' downfall since June 13th. That's when the cracks really started to show. Since then, they've gone 18-28, and they've been winless in 6 extra-inning road games. 3 wins and 7 losses in extras overall. The numbers don't lie. This is a full-system failure. Once an offensive juggernaut, the Yankees now struggle mightily with runners in scoring position. Injuries have ravaged the rotation. Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt are both out for the season after undergoing Tommy John surgery, and the replacements have been wildly inconsistent. The bullpen, which was once reliable, now feels more like a ticking time bomb. Weaver has faded. Devin Williams is volatile. Even the mid-season additions, Bednar, Doval, Bird, are still trying to find their rhythm. And if that wasn't enough, the mental mistakes are stacking up. From Anthony Volpe botching routine grounders to bizarre base-running errors, this team looks more like a development squad than a playoff contender. Which brings the spotlight straight onto Aaron Boone. Say what you will about him. He's kept the clubhouse together during previous slumps and led teams back from the brink. Under his management, only the Astros and Dodgers have 1 more game since 2018. But none of that matters if this team collapses downstretch. That's the harsh reality of baseball in New York. Boone's job may be safe for now, with the front office not known for knee-jerk firings and the last in-season coaching change coming all the way back in 1995. Still, everyone knows the deal. If the Yankees miss the playoffs, Boone's seat won't just be hot, it'll be on fire. As it stands, Boone's connection with the clubhouse is still strong, and ownership values his communication skills, especially when dealing with the constant scrutiny of the New York media machine. But even that can only carry so much weight. The cracks are visible, the frustration is loud, and the time to turn things around is running out fast. Tuesday's matchup becomes a must-win, with Will Warren taking the mound and the season teetering on the edge of collapse. And so, in a move that feels both desperate and shrewd, the Yankees made a late-season gamble by signing veteran right-hander Mietta to a minor league deal. At first glance, it might seem like a quiet, low-risk depth move. But when you look at the state of this rotation, it starts to feel like a necessary roll of the dice. Mietta, now 37 years old, was once a postseason hero. But the last couple of years haven't been kind to him. In 2024 with the Detroit Tigers, Mietta struggled badly, posting a brutal earned run average of 6.09 across 112 and one-third innings. He was eventually moved to the bullpen, designated for assignment, and released. Then, things got worse. After giving up 7 earned runs in just 8 innings with the Tigers' bullpen, Mietta was cut again and signed a minor league deal with the Cubs. Early outings with AAA Iowa were nothing short of a disaster. Over his first 3 starts, Mietta carried a sky-high earned run average of 24.30. In one start, he allowed 9 runs in a single inning. At that point, most people had written him off completely. But here's where it gets interesting. Over his last 9 starts, Mietta has quietly started to put things back together. He's posted a 3.55 earned run average with a strikeout rate just over 20% and a walk rate under 9%. In his last 3 starts alone, Mietta has a 3.18 ERA over 17 innings with his strikeout percentage climbing to 27.5. Yes, it's a small sample. Yes, it's AAA. But for a Yankees team grasping for anything remotely dependable on the mound, those numbers matter. And more importantly, this move cost the Yankees virtually nothing. The Tigers are still on the hook for most of Mietta's salary. If he gets promoted, the Yankees owe only the league minimum on a prorated deal. It's a classic low-risk, high-reward scenario. The real question is, does Mietta have anything left in the tank? What makes this gamble slightly more intriguing is Mietta's profile. Even now, he maintains a solid ground ball rate around 45% and has extensive playoff experience under his belt. If his mechanics are truly clicking again, and that's a big if, he could be a stabilizing swingman or spot starter down the stretch. Worst case, he flames out in Scranton. Best case, he becomes the kind of under-the-radar contributor that often fuels unexpected October runs. Still, even with Mietta potentially on the horizon, the real turning point of this week is the return of the captain. Aaron Judge is back. After 10 days that felt like a lifetime for Yankees fans, Judge was officially activated off the injured list, just in time for Game 2 of the series in Texas. He rejoined the team on Monday night, and make no mistake, this isn't just a player returning, it's a lifeline being thrown to a drowning roster. That situation creates a new dilemma. What happens to Giancarlo Stanton? Stanton, who just hit his 10th home run in 24 games, will now see his role reduced. Boone has hinted that Stanton could return to the outfield once the team gets back to Yankee Stadium. But with his long injury history and current elbow tendonitis, that move comes with plenty of risk. In the meantime, the outfield mix is expected to include Jason Dominguez in left, Trent Grisham in center, and Cody Bellinger in right, with Austin Slater and Amed Rosario rotating in based on matchups. But the spotlight is squarely on Judge, because when he's in the lineup, everything changes. Before the injury, he was having an MVP-caliber season once again, slashing .342 with 37 homers and a jaw-dropping 1.160 OPS. His defense in right field was elite, but even if he can't throw for a while, his bat alone is enough to shift the balance of a game. Still, expectations should be tempered. Judge is back, but he's not a miracle worker. This team is still in a dangerous freefall. Since mid-June, the Yankees have played like a bottom-tier team, going 18-28. The rotation is decimated. The bullpen is unreliable, and the offense has cooled off to a whisper. One man alone can't solve all of that. But if there's one player in baseball who can lift an entire franchise on his shoulders and drag it back into contention, it's Aaron Judge. If he's even close to full strength, the Yankees just got their biggest weapon back. And in a season that's teetering on the edge, that might be their only shot. As the Yankees attempt to stop the bleeding and salvage a season that's slipping through their fingers, the conversation now shifts from panic to possibility. With Aaron Judge back in the lineup and Kenta Maeda waiting in the wings as a potential pitching reinforcement, the Yankees aren't just hoping for a turnaround. They're depending on one. But the harsh truth is that talent and history alone won't be enough. This is about urgency, resilience, and whether this roster can find an identity before it's too late. Let's start with Judge's return. While his presence alone is enough to energize the fan base and spark a locker room, there's still uncertainty around his health. Being used exclusively as a designated hitter, at least for now, means the Yankees are playing without their elite right fielder defensively, and the ripple effect is significant. It forces Giancarlo Stanton to the bench or into sporadic outfield duty, which is risky given his injury history. Stanton has shown signs of life at the plate, but his elbow tendonitis makes it nearly impossible to count on him as a defensive option. This lineup juggling isn't just about names. It's about chemistry and production. Dominguez, Grisham, and Bellinger will rotate through the outfield, but none of them bring the two-way impact that Judge does. Cody Bellinger, for all his Gold Glove pedigree, has had an up-and-down year, and Grisham's inconsistencies at the plate continue to limit his overall value. Slater and Rosario offer versatility, but not enough offensive firepower to mask the holes. Judge's bat changes the game, but the players surrounding him have to raise their level too. There's simply no room left for anyone to coast. The same can be said about the rotation. If this team is going to claw its way back into postseason relevance, it starts on the mound. Max Fried, Carlos Rodon, Will Warren, and Cam Schlittler are the current core, a patchwork group that's struggling with inconsistency, pitch count limits, and, in some cases, confidence. Fried, while still one of the more reliable arms on paper, hasn't been able to dominate the way he did in previous seasons. Rodon continues to flash brilliance in stretches, but fades just as quickly. Warren is still finding his footing, and Schlittler, despite flashes of potential, lacks the experience to be leaned on heavily during a playoff push. Enter Kenta Mietta. It's fair to say most fans didn't expect to be talking about him in August. Just a few months ago, his career looked like it was over. But baseball has a way of offering second chances, and Mietta seems determined to make the most of his. He spent the last few weeks in AAA quietly rebuilding himself, simplifying his mechanics, finding his release point, and regaining command of his slider and splitter. In an organization desperate for stability, even the idea of Mietta being serviceable feels like a lifeline. The key here isn't asking Mietta to come in and dominate. The Yankees aren't expecting an ace. What they need is someone who can eat innings, keep the team in games, and buy time while the rest of the rotation tries to find its legs. If Mietta can provide even 5 to 6 solid innings per outing and limit damage, he becomes an asset. And if he can offer that with any regularity, he might just be the X factor no one saw coming. There's also the leadership component. Mietta is a veteran with postseason experience. He understands high-stakes environments. He doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room to make an impact. Sometimes, just knowing how to navigate pressure is enough to steady a team that's teetering on the edge. Young arms like Warren and Schlittler can learn from him. Even Rodon, who's still learning to manage expectations in New York, could benefit from a veteran presence who's been through the ups and downs of a long season. But as critical as the pitching staff is, the real swing factor remains the offense. This team has lost its identity at the plate. The Yankees of the past were known for grinding out at-bats, drawing walks, forcing opposing pitchers to work deep in accounts, and then punishing mistakes. That brand of baseball has disappeared. The current version feels disjointed. Lots of isolated power, very little situational hitting, and a consistent inability to capitalize with runners in scoring position. And the numbers are brutal. Since mid-June, the Yankees have ranked near the bottom of the league in batting average with runners on second and third. Too often, runners are left stranded after leadoff doubles. Productive outs, grounders to move a runner, sacrifice flies, have become rare. It's not just a slump. It's a mentality problem. The at-bats are impatient, the approach is inconsistent, and the lack of execution in key moments has been staggering. That falls on more than just the hitters. It's a team-wide issue. The coaching staff has to adapt. Boone and his crew need to stop hoping the home run will bail them out and start emphasizing smarter situational baseball. Play for the run when you need to. Shorten swings with 2 strikes. Recognize when a moment calls for contact instead of power. These are the details that win playoff games in October. Right now, the Yankees aren't playing with that kind of awareness. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. Anthony Volpe, the promising young shortstop for the New York Yankees, suffered an injury during a recent team practice that has sparked concern among fans and analysts alike. Known for his dynamic defensive skills and burgeoning offensive capabilities, Volpe has been viewed as a key component of the Yankees' future lineup. His injury came at a particularly sensitive time, as the team is preparing for the upcoming season with high expectations. During the practice session, Volpe appeared to experience discomfort after a routine play, leading to immediate attention from the team's medical staff. The initial reports suggest the injury may affect his participation in early season games, though the exact nature and severity remain under evaluation. This setback is significant, considering the Yankees' reliance on his versatility and potential to contribute both defensively and offensively. The timing could not be worse, as the team is navigating a competitive division where every game counts. Fans who have eagerly anticipated Volpe's breakthrough are now left hoping for a swift and full recovery. The Yankees' management has expressed cautious optimism, but remains tight-lipped about specific details, emphasizing the importance of a thorough diagnosis before rushing him back onto the field. In the meantime, the Yankees will need to adjust their lineup and strategy to compensate for his absence, putting added pressure on other players to fill the void left by Volpe's injury. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictability of sports, where even the most promising careers can face unexpected hurdles, testing the resilience of both player and team. The implications of Anthony Volpe's injury stretch beyond just the immediate lineup adjustments for the New York Yankees. They potentially impact the team's long-term strategy and player development plans. Volpe, a homegrown talent, has been groomed extensively within the Yankees farm system, representing the organization's investment in cultivating young talent capable of sustaining success over the coming years. His injury now poses a challenge not only to his physical health, but also to the momentum he had been building in his career progression. With the season approaching, the Yankees face the difficult decision of balancing the urgency of filling the gap Volpe's absence creates against the necessity of ensuring his recovery is complete and free from complications. Medical experts often caution against rushing athletes back too soon, as premature returns can lead to re-injury or chronic issues that jeopardize future performance. For the Yankees, this means the temptation to quickly reintegrate Volpe into the active roster must be tempered by a careful and measured approach. The team's medical staff, coaching personnel, and management will need to coordinate closely to devise a recovery timeline that prioritizes long-term health over short-term gains. Additionally, this situation shines a spotlight on the depth and resilience of the Yankees roster, as bench players and minor leaguers might be called upon to step into more prominent roles. The injury also affects the psychological dynamics within the team, as losing a key player can influence morale and cohesion, requiring leadership to maintain focus and confidence throughout this challenging period. Anthony Volpe's injury also brings into focus the physical demands placed on young athletes in professional baseball, highlighting the broader context of sports medicine and player care in the modern era. Baseball, while often perceived as less physically taxing than contact sports, requires a unique combination of agility, strength, and endurance, which can expose players to a variety of injuries. For Volpe, the nature of his injury, occurring during practice rather than in a game situation, illustrates the continuous risk players face even outside of official competition. This underscores the importance of comprehensive training, proper conditioning, and preventive care protocols implemented by professional teams. The Yankees, like many MLB franchises, invest heavily in state-of-the-art facilities, medical expertise, and sports science to minimize injury risks and optimize player performance. Nevertheless, injuries remain an inherent part of sports, demanding constant vigilance and adaptive strategies to mitigate their impact. Volpe's case may also influence ongoing discussions about workload management for young players transitioning to the major leagues, balancing the need to gain experience with the imperative to protect their long-term health. Moreover, his injury could prompt the Yankees and other organizations to reevaluate their training regimens, possibly introducing adjustments aimed at reducing stress on vulnerable muscle groups or joints. In this way, Volpe's misfortune serves as a catalyst for broader conversations about athlete welfare, technological advancements in sports medicine, and the evolving nature of professional baseball training. The response from a Yankees fan base and the wider baseball community to Anthony Volpe's injury has been immediate and emotionally charged, reflecting the high hopes pinned on this rising star. Social media platforms have seen an outpouring of support, with fans expressing sympathy and encouragement for Volpe's recovery journey. Analysts and commentators have debated the potential impact on a Yankee season, weighing Volpe's absence against the team's overall strengths and weaknesses. This public reaction highlights the modern dynamic where fans are deeply connected to players not only through their on-field performances, but also through personal narratives and the shared experience of the sport. Volpe's injury narrative has added a layer of uncertainty to the Yankees' prospects, creating an emotional subplot that runs parallel to the technical and strategic challenges the team faces. For the players themselves, such widespread attention can be a source of motivation or pressure, depending on individual personalities and team culture. The Yankees organization has also communicated directly with the public, providing updates intended to manage expectations and maintain transparency while protecting Volpe's privacy and dignity. This balance between openness and discretion is crucial in maintaining trust between the team and its supporters. The injury also emphasizes the human element of professional sports, reminding everyone involved, from players and coaches to fans and media, that behind the statistics and highlights, athletes are vulnerable individuals navigating physical and emotional challenges in pursuit of excellence. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.